Is this a dagger which I see before me? The handle toward my hand. Come, let me clutch thee. I have thee not, and yet I see thee still. Art thou not fatal vision sensible to feeling as to sight? Or art thou but a dagger of the mind? A false creation, proceeding forth from a heat-oppressed brain. I see thee still, in form as palpable as this which now I draw. Mine eyes are made fools of the other senses, or else worth all the rest. I see thee still, and on thy blade indulging gouts of blood, which was not so before. There's no such thing. It is the bloody business which informs thus to mine eyes. Now over one half the world, nature seems dead, and wicked dreams abuse the curtain's sleep. Witchcraft celebrates pale Hecate's offerings, and withered murder, alarmed by his sentinel the wolf, whose howls his watch, thus with his stealthy pace, with Tarquin's ravishing strides, towards his design, moves like a ghost. Thou, sure and firm-set earth, hear not my steps, which way they walk, for fear the very stones prate of my whereabouts, and still the present horror from the time which now suits with it. Whiles I fret, he lives, words to the heat of deeds to cold breath gives. I go, and it is done. The bell invites me. Hear it not, Duncan. It is a knell that summons thee to heaven or to hell. My name is Marco Antonio Vega, and I guess I'm supposed to tell you why Shakespeare, or why Mackers, or why this speech. And that's, it's kind of hard to answer. I think something that keeps Shakespeare really interesting to me is kind of the mystery of the whole thing. Because, you know, I've studied Shakespeare for years and years now, and still most people are just guessing about who this guy was or where he may have come from. And, you know, people credit him as this genius when, truthfully, it took a community. After he died, his works were published because of that community. His poetry lives on because of these communities. And so I think it's poetry within those communities and sharing it and playing with it and seeing how it affects each community, because it's been affecting us for almost 500 years. So if it sinks on you and it feels special, then it's probably something that your ancestors have heard and maybe have had sit on them as well, because these words have been and will continue after us. So I think that's pretty cool.